Let's take some time to explore one of the cornerstones of gaming history, XCOM UFO Defense. Released in 1994, this game not only set the benchmark for strategy and tactics, but also introduced gamers to a world of alien invasions and high-stakes management that remains influential to this day. Let's peel back the layers of this iconic game, exploring its inception, mechanics, and the undying legacy that keeps it relevant in the gaming community decades after its release. What is it about XCOM UFO Defense that captured the hearts and minds of players around the globe? How did this game with such a modest budget create a blueprint for future strategy games? Well, buckle up, gamers, as we embark on a journey through time, design, and space warfare to better understand XCOM UFO Defense and its indelible mark on the gaming landscape. Diving into the origins of XCOM UFO Defense, the journey starts with a visionary named Julian Gollop. Before XCOM became a household name in the gaming world, Julian and his brother Nick were crafting the framework of what would become a tactical masterpiece. The concept originated from their earlier game, Laser Squad, a tactical turn-based strategy game that laid the foundational mechanics which XCOM would later refine and expand upon. Julian was inspired by a myriad of sources, notably the board game Sniper and the classic sci-fi series UFO. But it was his fascination with the idea of a global defense force against alien invasions that truly seeded the creation of XCOM. This concept was radical for its time, blending strategy management and a persistent world where actions had long-term consequences. The development was not without its hurdles. Initially, the Gollop brothers worked with a small team under the banner of Mythos Games. The project, originally titled Laser Squad 2, was ambitious, aiming to combine global strategy with tactical combat scenarios. As development progressed, the game evolved significantly, catching the eye of Microprose, a company known for its strong portfolio of simulation games. Microprose saw potential in the game, but they wanted something bigger, something that could stand out in the rapidly growing video game market. Under Microprose, the project's scope expanded, and the game was rebranded to XCOM UFO Defense. This partnership brought more resources and a broader vision to the table. Key figures at Microprose, including the legendary Sid Meier, provided input that helped shape the final product. The team faced numerous challenges, from tight deadlines to technical limitations of the hardware during the era. Despite these challenges, the team's ingenuity led to the implementation of features like the Fog of War and a unique action point system that added depth and realism to turn-based combat. As XCOM neared completion, it stood out for its innovative blend of real-time management and turn-based tactics, a hybrid that was rare at the time. The game's AI was particularly notable for its complexity, providing a challenge and unpredictable opponent. This level of sophistication in both gameplay and strategic management set XCOM apart from its peers and laid the groundwork for its critical and commercial success upon release. Let's delve into the mechanics that make XCOM UFO Defense a legend in the gaming world. This isn't just a game that you play casually, it's a complex strategic challenge that demands your full engagement and strategic acumen. From resource management on a global scale to intense turn-based tactical battles, XCOM offers a richly woven tapestry of gameplay that captivates and challenges its players at every turn. This game seamlessly blends two distinct phases: the Geoscape, where you manage your global operations against the alien threat, and the Battlescape, where the turn-based combat happens. This dual approach forces you to think big-picture strategy and detailed tactical maneuvers, a balance that keeps you on your toes. In the Geoscape, you're the boss, running everything from finance to R&D, all while scrambling jets to intercept UFOs. It's about resource management on steroids. You've got to decide whether you build bases, what tech to research, and how to respond to alien activity. It's this strategic layer that sets the stakes for the tactical battles, making every decision count. Switching over to Battlescape, this is where XCOM really shines. The turn-based tactical combat requires you to think like a chess master, only with plasma guns and alien psychics as your pieces. Every soldier under command can move a certain number of time units per turn, with every action costing units. This system adds a thick layer of strategy as you decide whether to move, shoot, or prepare for enemy attacks. The level of detail in these combat scenarios is insane. Terrain is destructible, night missions reduce visibility, and morale can make or break your squad. If you thought the pressure was high in the Geoscape, the Battlescape turns it up to 11. One wrong move and you could set off a chain reaction that ends in a total squad wipeout. But it's not just about fighting. Research and development play a huge role in your success. Capturing aliens and their tech, then dissecting and reverse engineering them to understand and adapt their technologies for human use is crucial. Every new piece of tech can be a game changer, from better armor to new weapons and beyond. The interplay between base management and tactical combat creates a dynamic experience where every choice, every victory, and every defeat has a lasting impact. The game's depth comes from not just winning battles, but managing a war where the enemy is unknown, unpredictable, and unforgiving. Now let's get into the narrative and world building of XCOM UFO Defense, where the game really starts messing with your mind, in a good way of course. The storyline isn't just a backdrop, it's integral, pulling you into the high-stakes battle for Earth's survival against a mysterious alien threat. The plot kicks off with reports of UFO sightings and abductions. Classic sci-fi tropes, right? But here's where XCOM turns up the heat. You're in charge of a secret multinational military organization formed in response to these alien attacks. The game just doesn't hand you a gun and say, go shoot. Nope. You gotta manage resources, research alien tech, and keep member nations happy, all while figuring out why Earth has become this cosmic hotspot for these extraterrestrial tourists. As you delve deeper into the game, the alien species you encounter get weirder and more dangerous. From the initial sectoids, small and frail but mentally sharp, to the terrifying chrysalids, who can zombify your troops. Each species adds layers to the game's lore and strategic complex. The diversity in enemy types isn't just for show, it forces you to adapt your tactics and keep the gameplay fresh. The integration of the story with gameplay is seamless. Missions aren't random, they're connected to the invasion narrative. For example, shooting down a UFO and then conducting a ground assault to recover technology and alien specimens makes you feel like you're genuinely impacting the course of the invasion. This narrative depth turns each mission into a story chapter, not just another battle. XCOM's storytelling extends into its world building through the Geoscape, where the news ticker and council reports make the world feel alive and responsive to your actions, or inactions. The panic levels in member countries reflect the local impact of the alien threat and your performance as Earth's defender. Let a country fall to high panic, and they might withdraw from the project, taking their funding and support with them. These consequences make the stakes personal and global. The game's narrative and immersive world building were revolutionary at the time and remain exemplary. They ensure that XCOM isn't just a series of disconnected skirmishes, but a cohesive battle for survival against a well-defined enemy. This isn't just a game about shooting aliens. It's about experiencing and influencing a narrative of planetary defense and survival. Through its compelling blend of story and gameplay, XCOM UFO Defense challenges your strategic mind while engaging you in an ongoing sci-fi saga that feels epic and personal all at once. Upon its release in 1994, XCOM was met with critical acclaim and commercial success, despite the initial skepticism about its complex gameplay and steep learning curve. Gamers were drawn to its challenging mechanics and the depth of its strategic and tactical layers. It struck a chord with those who wanted more from their games than just action, those who craved a mental test and a real cerebral challenge. The commercial performance of XCOM was solid, helping to secure a future for its developers and spawning a series that continued to evolve. The game sold well across multiple platforms, with particularly strong performance on the PC. It's worth noting that XCOM arrived during a time when PC gaming was really starting to gather steam as a major platform, and it leveraged the capabilities of the hardware in a way that few other games at the time did. Critically, XCOM was a darling from the get-go. It scooped up numerous awards and accolades, including high scores for major gaming publications and praise for its innovation in game design. Reviewers and players alike lauded its blend of tactical depth, strategic management, and the high stakes of its alien invasion narrative. The early community around XCOM was a hotbed of player engagement. Fans weren't just playing, they were dissecting every aspect of the game, from alien behavior patterns to optimizing base layouts. Forums and early internet chat rooms buzzed with strategies and stories, creating a rich tapestry of shared experiences and collective troubleshooting. This wasn't just fandom, it was a collaborative quest to master and perhaps outsmart one of the most challenging games of the time. But the real game changer was the modding scene. XCOM's open-ended gameplay and relatively accessible codebase made it a prime candidate for mods. Modders took to the game like sectoids to psionics, crafting everything from simple tweaks to complete overhauls. These mods could alter the game mechanics, introduce new weapons and enemies, or completely transform the visual and auditory experience. Some mods even aimed to fix bugs left in the original game, improving stability and playability on modern systems. One of the most significant and influential mods is X-Pirates. This total conversion mod flips the original game on its head, setting players not as defenders of Earth, but as pirates in a post-apocalyptic world. It's a testament to the modding community's creativity and dedication, showing how far fans can take a game's framework and narrative. Another standout is OpenXCOM, an open-source reimplementation of the original XCOM engine. This project not only fixes nearly every bug known in the original game, but also adds quality-of-life improvements and mod support that allow for an even greater expansion of the game's possibilities. OpenXCOM has become a platform in itself, underpinning countless mods and serving as a hub for the game's community to continue to grow and evolve. The legacy of XCOM modding community is a significant part of the game's enduring appeal. These mods do more than just add content. They keep the game fresh and engaging, allowing for new generations of players to experience XCOM in ways the original developers never imagined. It's a vibrant, ever-expanding universe born from the base game, driven by fans' love and dedication. Through its community and modding, XCOM UFO Defense demonstrates the potential of player engagement and creativity, showcasing how a game can evolve and thrive long after its original release. The continued vitality of this community ensures that XCOM remains not just relevant, but a living, evolving entity in the gaming world. Moving on to the modern relevance and remakes of XCOM UFO Defense, we see how this classic has not only endured, but also inspired a whole new generation of games. The reboot series by Firaxis Games, starting with XCOM Enemy Unknown in 2012, serves as a brilliant testament to the original's enduring influence while expanding and evolving the original formula for today's gaming audience. The Firaxis reboot isn't just a homage, it's a reimagining that captures the essence of the original XCOM, while streamlining some of its more complex aspects to appeal to both newcomers and hardcore fans alike. XCOM Enemy Unknown and its sequel, XCOM 2, keep the core of tactical turn-based combat and global strategic management, but introduce smoother graphics, more intuitive interfaces, and a more narrative-driven approach. The success of these games highlights how the fundamental appeal of XCOM, the blend of intense tactical missions and high-stakes strategic decision-making, is timeless. The modern XCOM series also expands on the original's narrative, offering a richer backstory and a more immersive world. Firaxis embraced the dark, desperate struggle against an alien invasion, adding emotional depth and greater stakes to the conflict. The narrative enhancements and character development in these remakes make the victories sweeter and the losses more heartbreaking, intensifying the player's investment into the game. But let's not forget the impact of the original on other developers and games outside the direct XCOM lineage. Titles like Invisible Inc., Phoenix Point, led by none other than Julian Gollop himself, and even Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, reflects the influence of XCOM's strategic depth, turn-based mechanics, and complex decision-making processes. These games demonstrate the wide-reaching impact of XCOM, showcasing its principles in varied settings and styles, proving the game's foundational mechanics can translate across genres and themes. Wrapping it all up, XCOM UFO Defense isn't just a game. It's a cultural artifact, a mastery class in strategy, and quite possibly the best alien employer simulator out there. Over the years, this game has done more than just entertain. It has educated us on the fine art of alien warfare, and even the finer art of managing a budget tighter than a sectoid's grip. From its pixelated roots in 1994 to the slick cinematic remakes and the vibrant creative community that continues to mod and mold the game into new experiences, XCOM has shown us the only thing more relentless than an alien invasion is gamers' enthusiasm for crushing it. It laughed in time's face and then made time sit in the corner and think about what it's done. So here's to XCOM UFO Defense, the game that taught us that sometimes the best response to a complex problem is a simple blaster bomb to the face. Its legacy isn't just the games it inspired or the community that adores it, but in the countless gamers who have muttered, "Just one more turn," into the wee hours of the morning. Because let's face it, if we're going to save the world from an alien threat, we might as well have a blast doing it. If you enjoyed exploring the history and making of XCOM UFO Defense, click this video here to see more from the Retro Reload. And as always, thank you for watching.